It's a twist straight out of a TV drama, except this time, it played out on live television. Sunny Hostin, co-host of The View and outspoken advocate for identity politics, was about to learn a family secret so juicy, so ironic, you'd think a sitcom genius wrote it. Here's the setup. Sunny appeared on PBS's Finding Your Roots, the show where celebrities uncover their ancestral histories. Given her frequent monologues about race, reparations, and societal injustice, you'd expect Sunny to already have her family tree mapped out like a social justice manifesto. Well, she didn't.
Who was missing?
Lily Mae was the mother of all those children.
Right.
Who's the father?
Oh.
As the results were revealed, Sunny sat there, expecting an uplifting revelation. Maybe her ancestors were freedom fighters, revolutionaries, trailblazers of equality.
I guess, unless they were all on a farm together somewhere.
Or your grandmother Mary's father.
Nope. Instead, she learned that her family tree included slave owners. The room went silent. You could feel the air leave the room. Sunny's wide eyes and awkward stammer said it all. This was not the inspirational narrative she'd been hoping for. Her response? I always thought of myself as Puerto Rican. I didn't think my family was originally from Spain or slaveholders. An awkward silence followed. Sunny scrambled to spin it, muttering how it would be interesting for her kids to know.
I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children to know this information. I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living.
But no amount of scrambling for words could save her from the overwhelming irony of the moment. You know what else would be interesting? If you subscribe to the channel for more content like this. If Sunny Hostin's Finding Your Roots revelation was the setup, Greg Gutfeld's reaction was the punchline. And boy, did he deliver. Gutfeld wasted no time turning Sunny's family tree fiasco into comedic gold on his show. Opening with a line that could double as a roast at a celebrity dinner, he quipped, "Sunny Hostin's slave-owning ancestors. This is like finding out a vegan secretly owns a BBQ joint." The audience erupted in laughter, and Gutfeld wasn't even close to finished. With his trademark sarcasm, he pointed out the glaring irony of Sunny's situation. For someone who built a reputation on weaponizing race in every conversation, learning her own family played a direct role in the history she condemns was an irony he couldn't resist. "She loves to lecture us about reparations," Gutfeld said with a sly smile. "Well, guess what, Sunny? Looks like you might need to start writing some checks yourself." The segment then cut to a clip of Sunny's awkward reaction on Finding Your Roots.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock.
As her face twisted with discomfort, Gutfeld added, "You could almost hear her brain screaming, 'Abort mission, this is not the narrative we rehearsed.'" The audience and the internet went wild. Gutfeld's co-hosts chimed in, with one joking, "The next time she pulls the race card on The View, someone's gonna clap back with, 'At least we're not slaveholder racist.'" But Gutfeld wasn't just interested in the comedic irony. He used the moment to make a broader point about the dangers of identity politics. "This is what happens when you focus so much on race," he said. "You lose sight of the individual, the nuance, the context, and eventually it backfires, just like it did for Sunny." Greg Gutfeld's takedown sparked a wave of social media reactions. Within hours of Hostin's Finding Your Roots episode airing, social media erupted with memes and comments. The commentary ranged from hilarious to downright brutal. One of the most popular memes featured Sunny's photo with the caption, "Reparations?" Let me write that check to myself real quick. Another viral tweet quipped, "Sunny Hostin finding out her ancestors were slave owners is 2025's biggest plot twist. Karma works fast." Comment sections turned into digital battlefields. Supporters defended Sunny, saying she shouldn't be judged for her ancestors' actions. But the critics, they came armed with sarcasm. Sunny, you spent years lecturing everyone else. Now that it's your turn, all you've got is, it's a fact of life? Then there was the Reddit deep dive. Armchair genealogists and amateur historians gleefully dissected Sunny's lineage. One particularly scathing comment read, "This is like a plot twist straight out of a soap opera, except it's real. And the irony is delicious." Even her colleagues at The View weren't spared. Another viral post joked, "Whoopi's about to start making Sunny fetch her coffee. After all, she's got experience working for slave owners." Savage. But it wasn't just random users piling on. Social media influencers and conservative commentators jumped into the fray, calling Sunny out for what they saw as a lack of accountability. If you've spent your career shaming others for their history, maybe take a moment to acknowledge your own, one post read. Despite the chaos, Sunny didn't issue an apology or even a follow-up statement. Instead, she brushed it off as a fact of life. This, of course, only fueled the fire. Critics accused her of dodging the opportunity for genuine reflection. If it were anyone else, Gutfeld said in another segment, they'd be groveling, apologizing, holding press conferences. But Sunny? She shrugs it off and moves on. That's some next-level hypocrisy. If you're enjoying the video so far, hit that like button. Sunny Hostin's family tree mishap isn't just about one person's embarrassing revelation, it's an eye-opener about the dangers of identity politics. For years, conversations about race and history have been dominated by moral absolutism, clear heroes, clear villains, and little room for nuance. Sunny's discovery proved how messy and complicated reality can be. Greg Gutfeld didn't waste the opportunity to drive this point home. This is what happens when you spend your entire career looking for racism under every rock, he said. Eventually, it finds you, and sometimes it's sitting right there in your family tree. Sunny's reaction, or lack thereof, perfectly encapsulated the pitfalls of focusing solely on identity. Instead of reflecting on how this new information might reshape her worldview, she brushed it off as a fact of life. Gutfeld called her out, saying, "No apology, no acknowledgement of her own hypocrisy, just a shrug and move on. Imagine if anyone else tried to get away with that." This isn't just about Sunny, it's about the broader cultural obsession with viewing history too simplistically. While reparations and racial justice are critical issues, identity politics often judges people based on their heritage or race. As Gutfeld put it, when you fixate on the past, you lose sight of what actually matters, what you do today. The irony is almost bitter. Sunny Hostin, a vocal advocate for holding others accountable for historical injustices, now ties herself to the system she condemns. But instead of engaging with the complexity, she dismissed it. Critics saw this as emblematic of a broader issue with identity politics. It's great at pointing fingers, but not so great at self-reflection. The fallout raised important questions. Should we judge individuals by their ancestors' actions? Is it fair to lecture others about historical accountability without addressing your own family's role? As Gutfeld noted, it's not about what your ancestors did, it's about what you do with the knowledge. Sunny had a chance to rise above, to show some humility. Instead, she doubled down on deflection. The public's reaction to Sunny's revelation was polarized. On one side, some saw the irony as a moment of poetic justice, dubbing it the plot twist of the year. On the other, her defenders argued that Sunny shouldn't be blamed for actions she didn't commit. But for most people, one question lingered. What happens now? Sunny's response, or lack thereof, only fueled the fire. Instead of addressing the discovery with introspection or a genuine acknowledgement of its implications, she brushed it off as a fact of life. For many, this felt like an undermined everything she's argued for. Greg Gutfeld and his panel didn't hold back. This was her chance to take responsibility, to show some humility. Gutfeld said, "Instead, She shrugged it off like it was someone else's problem. Imagine the lectures she'd be giving if this were anyone else. His co-hosts piled on, with one joking, "The next time she tries to play the race card on The View, someone's going to say, 'At least we're not slaveholder racist.'" Another quipped, "Now we know why she makes Whoopi get the coffee." But the public's verdict wasn't confined to Gutfeld's audience. Across social media, Sunny became a meme-worthy punchline. A particularly popular post featured her photo with the caption, "Reparations? Let me write myself a check real quick." Despite the backlash, Sunny has yet to issue a public apology or statement addressing the irony. Instead, she's continued her usual commentary on The View as though nothing happened. Critics see this as emblematic of the larger problem, an inability to confront personal contradictions while demanding accountability from others. So, what's next for Sunny? If history is any indication, she'll likely stay the course, deflecting criticism and sticking to her usual rhetoric. But the public has a long memory, and this revelation will be a lingering mark on her reputation. As Gutfeld said in his closing remarks, "This isn't just about Sunny Hostin. It's about what happens when identity politics eats itself. When you spend your life lecturing others, eventually the spotlight turns on you. And when it does, you better have a better answer than, 'It's a fact of life.'" For now, the irony of her family history has left Sunny in a precarious position. Whether she learns from it or not remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure: the internet won't let her forget. Sunny Hostin's ancestral revelation isn't just a footnote in her career. It's a stark reminder of the contradictions of identity politics in 2025. At its core, this debacle raises a fundamental question. What happens when the very framework you use to judge others turns around and judges you? Greg Gutfeld's analysis went beyond the comedy. "This is the danger of reducing everything to identity," he explained. "You lose sight of individuals, their choices, and the context of their lives. You start playing a game where everyone loses, especially when the rules inevitably turn on you." This moment is emblematic of a broader societal struggle. While rooted in the desire for justice, identity politics often falls into the trap of oversimplifying complex issues. Instead of fostering dialogue, it creates divisions. Instead of accountability, it often inspires finger-pointing. And as Sunny's case shows, it rarely leaves room for self-reflection. Critics argue that the obsession with identity erases nuance. Yes, history matters. Yes, systemic injustices must be addressed. But can we truly move forward if we're stuck assigning guilt and innocence based on ancestry? Sunny's story illustrates the perils of focusing on the past while ignoring the present. Gutfeld summed it up perfectly. It's not about your ancestors or your skin color, it's about what you do today. If Sunny wants to talk about reparations, fine, but she'd better start with her own family tree. The public, too, has drawn its own conclusions. For some, this was the ultimate case of karma, a clear example that no one is exempt from the complexities of history. For others, it was a missed opportunity for growth. Sunny had the chance to model humility, acknowledge her blind spots, and foster a more honest conversation about race. Instead, she shrugged it off, leaving a sour taste in the mouths of even her most ardent supporters. Sunny Hostin's saga is a case study for anyone navigating the complex world of identity politics. It's a reminder that no one is above history's messy realities, and that when exposed, hypocrisy can be a powerful teacher. As Gutfeld closed his segment, he left viewers with this mic drop moment. At the end of the day, it's not about who your ancestors were. It's about who you are now. And Sunny, you've got some serious explaining to do.